Hey yo, shout out to Edgemere, shout out to the bro Moe Slinga and the whole Far Rockaway. You heard? The bro blessing us with that real Far Rock history, you feel what I'm saying? Untold history, things y'all don't know, things we ain't know. You feel me about the history of Edgemere and Far Rockaway in general. You heard? So pay attention, y'all might learn something, know what I mean? If you new to the channel, go to that new and recent episodes only playlist. You heard it's about pushing about 300 joints on there. You can watch 300 episodes. You heard? Now I mean, if you ain't familiar with them Shy Wells stories, them John Ryder stories about Far Rockaway, get in tune with those, man. You heard? Get in tune with those, because they relate to this story. You feel what I'm saying? Some good references in there that you could look up. But yeah, man, Z-Man Suicide Polo with the ski man running around the hood like He-Man at 3 a.m. with 3 swams looking for a dude that ran off with 3 grams. You feel what I'm saying? I'm putting in that work all week long. I got heavy content coming, heavy stories. You heard? If you ain't seeing what's on the channel right now, make sure you check the 2-3 latest episodes I dropped. They fire and they historic. And that's a fact. You heard? Z-Lord, hit me up.
The Vietnam story. Niggas died for the fame. Niggas died for the glory. The Vietnam story. The Vietnam story. Pop got life for the glory. Check the rest of the story. It started off with me, Maine, and Rotten. Young niggas selling crack with dreams to buy axe. One thing stood in our way, Vietnam. The Jamaicans had it locked and their work was the bomb. Fuck it. We got it on. We was born in them projects. Them rosters got the go, can't be taken all I don't know. Let's get a crew and knock them off one by one. And ever since, they called us the Young Guns. First, we needed a plan. What kind of cars do they push? A red Cherokee? Now let's set up the ambush. You're right. I was kind of like forced into certain shit too. Like, you know, like Edgemere is a really rough place. And if you not tough, niggas gonna take advantage of you. That shit is just like jail. But just with being free, you know what I'm saying? So initially I was just a regular kid. But then I got introduced to crime, fucking stealing, robbing niggas, and then the shit just escalated to, we got to a certain point where we started hustling. And so we was getting a little bit of money and you know, going uptown, picking up that shit from 145th in Amsterdam, whatever. And when our OG saw us, you know, doing a thing, he put us on to some fish scale coke. He gave me some fish scale coke. Me and my co-defendant came, gave us an ounce of fish scale coke and a 357, and it was off to the races. So they had this the building called Vietnam. They had some Jamaican brothers over there selling, and they had the whole projects locked down and shit. Nobody was really getting money. So we took them to war, and initially I kind of like started the whole thing. Whatever we was like, yo, these niggas gotta go. They not from Edgemere, they gotta go. So we got our little crew together, and I had 357 and shit. I shot one of the Jamaican niggas off the terrace in the chest or whatever, but his hand was like over his chest, so the shit wound up shooting off one of his fingers or whatever, and that started the beef. So we was getting it on with the Jamaican niggas for a minute, and we ran them out of the projects. So after we ran the Jamaican niggas out of the projects, we had that whole Vietnam shit was ours. So we getting all of the money. This is how the front and the back beef started. So we getting all the money in the front now. And so the dudes in the back, the OG Ron Love, rest in peace. This is before the Bloods and the Crips even came out. So the brother Ron, you know, we went to school together. We all knew each other. We was, you know, I knew them, and some of my homies wasn't from Edgemere. They just moved down there in different parts of Far Rockaway or Jamaica. But I'm born and bred Edgemere. So is Ron and his, you know, some of the people from his crew. So when they came over to after we took the shit from the Jamaicans, Ron was like, he wanted PC, and he came with his crew or whatever, and the fucking war ensued. It started from there, and it was just a whole bunch of shit going on. They shooting at us, but again, I'm kind of like not in the mix of it because the bullets and the beef is going around me because I'm Maurice that everybody knows, front and back. So, but the beef is with my crew. So, long story short, one of my homies got killed. From that beef, playing around with them. We went back there, pulled out on them, whatever. Something happened, did nothing happen. Next thing you know, Maine is dead. I was up north by that time. I'm an artist too. I go by the name of Moe Slinga, right? A lot of people know me as that, right? So I want to explain the story in a rhyme that I wrote. It'll probably come off because I'm speaking it and and it's choppy. It's called the Vietnam story. The Vietnam story. Niggas died for the fame. Niggas died for the glory. The Vietnam story. The Vietnam story. Pop got life for the glory. Check the rest of the story. It started off with me, Maine, and Rotten. Young niggas selling crack with dreams to buy axe. One thing stood in our way, Vietnam. The Jamaicans had it locked and their work was the bomb. Fuck it, we got it on. We was born in them projects. Them rosters got the go, can't be taken, all I don't know. Let's get a crew and knock them off one by one. And ever since, they called us the Young Guns. First, we needed a plan. What kind of cars do they push? A red Cherokee? Now let's set up the ambush. Yo, Rodney, chill. Our biggest gun is a fifth. We need some shit. The newest young gun was Cliff. We had the gun connect locked down because he was scared of me. He heard about Mo shooting niggas because Rodney dared me. Let's get it on. Hey, yo, here they come. This is the first episode of the drama that we started. Dearly departed. We shot one, then we darted. Took Pop house to chill and talk about our intentions. The next morning, Pop got locked up by Henson. Shit is foul. He blew trout to the body. Sherry started snitching, giving turns in the shotty, but we gotta go on, stay strong, and get that paper. A few months later, we caught the boss in the elevator, set him up, wet him up, now we own the building. Getting mad paper and our family is chilling. The Vietnam story. The Vietnam story. Niggas die for the fame, niggas die for the glory. The Vietnam story. The Vietnam story. Pop got life for the glory. Check the rest of my story, yo. We getting paper, got the projects on lockdown. Ain't nothing going down unless the Young Guns is down. Our crack is legal. Niggas can't sell no more. They got together, made a plan, and started war. Fuck it, it's on. Bring the drama. We ain't sharing. I don't be caring. When niggas start disappearing, Ron Love started the drama with his motherfucking soldiers. Some bitches told us this nigga Ron was taking over. But I ain't sweating it because I'm getting it a lot. That's so much props, I'm robbing other crack spots. Since I'm getting it, the money got to my head. Shot a nigga in the leg, now I gotta do it big. Check the Vietnam story, beat it now for my glory. I'm on the Island Style and me and Pop was buck wildin'. D came through, that's Rodney, little brother. He caught a body, he shot somebody in the party. We all them three men getting cocaine, I'm getting hit. My bitch ain't shit, she ran through the stash quick. It's time to depart. Left the island with a broken heart, but I'm smart, I had my daughter in my fucked up heart. She kept me strong as time goes on. And it goes more deeper than that, right? But that's kind of like some of the story in a nutshell, right? So now after the Ron, again, rest in peace, he was a gangster, and I don't want to be offensive to anybody that love him or any of his homies, because at the end of the day, he was a homie of mine too. So when the drama was going on, you know, I ain't never get touched. And certain of my homeboys got touched in that, like in that kind of war. Like we lost like maybe 3 or 4 people in that war, and they ain't lose nobody type shit. You know what I'm saying? So we kind of lost that war. Them niggas was more vicious and they was just stronger. And we was just kind of like, my team was just protecting themselves because we ain't really, you know, wasn't on no killer shit like that. Especially like the niggas that I was fucking with wasn't trying to get at the niggas from the projects. They just wanted to get at the Jamaicans so we could take over the projects or whatever. So long story short, I wound up getting locked up because I was fucking with a dollar cat, and we was out that night. We was we used to be out wilding and shit, so I had a hammer on me, and we out wilding. We in the dollar cat going from the spot to the crib we had in the 60s. So we in the van, we drinking, smoking, laughing, doing crazy shit in the dollar cab. The dollar cab dude pulls out a crowbar, and he tries to hit my co-defendant Rodney, his little brother. He tried to hit him with the crowbar. So I backed out, and I shot the nigga in the waist, and the shit went through one leg. I shot him in the thigh. It went through one thigh, hit the other thigh. Boom. He jumps out the car, and we jumps out the dollar cab, we running, police is right on our tail. I gets locked up. But I already had a previous gun charge from that happened in January of '92. I had a previous gun charge. I got caught clapping at some kids that jumped my sister in Springfield in '91, in November of '91. So I had the gun charge for that. I got out on that. So when I caught this the shooting charge of the van man, that made me get the 3 to 9. So with the Vietnam shit, like we had a whole crew of niggas. Like we had like 20 people under us. Me and Rodney was at the helm. It was Maine, rest in peace. His brother Pigo. We had D. We had Sex. We had the young girls. We had a whole crew. It was like a family and shit. We had like a little empire going on. Mind you, in that time, we was making at least no less than $4,000 a day. Everybody was eating. I was the nigga, son. Me and Rodney was the nigga. I was buying everybody fucking clothes, gold teeth, whatever. This story could be backed up by anybody that you know from Edgemere. When you speak to Twin, ask Twin about Moe Slinga in Vietnam. He'll tell you exactly if I'm telling the truth or not, right? And so the younger dudes that lived in the buildings with us, while we was hustling, they was like, I don't know, we was like 16, 17. We had young dudes that was in the building that used to admire us or go to the store for us or whatever. That were like maybe 12 and 13. When we got locked up, all of us got locked up that night when I shot the van driver. We was all in the car. A couple of them told on me too. I ain't gonna name no names, but I got a lot of. My mom still got paperwork of niggas that told on me. It was 7 people in the car with me. 7 people in the van, 6 told. Only 1 didn't tell. But I ain't gonna do that part. But the young men who saw us growing up and watching us doing what we was doing when we was at the building at Vietnam, they wound up taking over the building. And so at this time, it's 93, right? I went up top 92 summer. So this time it's 93, right? So now the blood sets is coming out and all these sets is coming out. So I think the paperwork hit Edgemere in the back. One of the homies told me that he sent paperwork home. Jesus told me this recently that he sent paperwork home in 95, right? So that now the back and the front always was in opposition. So the back gets blood paperwork and the front gets Crip paperwork. So now it's no more front and back beef. Now it's blood and Crip beef. So that's what we're dealing with today. So I feel like my story, it's more details in it, and I could get graphic about certain things that happen and people get shot and people dying and stuff like that, but I don't want to go into all of that because the people in Edgemere know, people from Edgemere who know, they know. So fast forward to now, when I go up top, well not now, but up top, when I go up top in 93, or 92, by 93, when 93 comes, I get a GED. I become a teacher's aide and fall in love with reading and learning and just understanding that selling drugs and being a part of that criminal element that I was a part of in my community was totally fucking wrong. That whole lifestyle, the whole way I was thinking, the whole way I was acting, and the things I was participating in was a part of genocide. I was contributing, I was a black devil. And I didn't realize that until I got up north and I got the 5% lessons, and then I started reading I read the autobiography of Malcolm X, the message to the black man, the ISIS papers, the Willie Lynch letter, and I started reading all of these things about the black diaspora, and I realized that I was tricked into believing that I had to be a certain kind of way in order to survive, in order to make it in the world, that I had to be a gangster, I had to be a tough guy or whatever. And I realized that when Malcolm X said we were tricked and bamboozled, that a lot of our young men and women are tricked and bamboozled into thinking that we gotta be gangsters, that we gotta be killers, that we gotta be robbers, that we gotta be drug dealers, that we gotta be pimps, that we gotta be these ill street niggas, and that's all we could be. So once I realized that, I started feeling bad. I started feeling stupid because I'm not stupid. and I know that it was another way to be. But you know what? I feel like God loved me so much that He took me out of the streets to allow me to be able to see the error of my ways. So upon being, getting the GED, learning it, and I helped over 150 dudes get GEDs in Green, bro. Like, I help mad dudes that to this day that tell me when I see them in the street, we always run into somebody from the can. I help mad brothers get GEDs. And that let me know that I wanted to become a teacher. So when I got out, I went back. It took me some time. I got out when I was like 24. It took me till I was about 29, 30 to go back to school. But I went to school. But the key to me being able to do that was when I got out, my mom's wasn't living in Far Rockaway no more. She was living in Harlem. So that opened up a different channel in my life, a different thing, because Harlem is different. Nobody knew me, and I had an opportunity to start fresh. So in doing so, like, I was staying on the couch at my mom's house, a 2-bedroom house, me, her, and my sister. And one day, my sister was in school. She came home and she didn't feel like doing the paper, and we was talking. She passed it off to me. I did the paper. She took it to school, got a good grade, like a B or B plus or something on it. And she was like, "Yo, you good at writing. You should go to school." And I went to school, and I stayed in there for 6 years, the same amount of time that I did in jail. I actually did 5 years and 1 year parole violation. So off the 3 to 9, I did 5. Then came home and did a parole violation.
I had a 3 to 9 too and did 6 off of it.
Yes, sir. I got hit with the doohickey the first time. I went to the board. The niggas whopped me. Buchanan. I know you know about Buchanan.
Yeah, that's who I saw.
She gave me that first doohickey, and I was twisted behind it, but it was good looking back now, because I came home in 97.
Yeah, nigga would have came home too early. I wouldn't. Yeah. If I would have made my first board, I would have went home and got killed.
Exactly. Exactly that. So that other dudes, we got the same story. The crazy thing about it, what made me change my life, is when I read the autobiography of Malcolm X. It was the same story, but a different person. And I saw myself in him. So when I speak to you, and our stories are the same, we different people. The plight of a black man in America does not change. All of us are experiencing the same thing. But it's just how you deal with it and how you interpret it. But it might be different scenarios and different little nuances that transpire during your journey, but it's the same ultimate goal, that we are all conditioned and oppressed in a certain kind of way, and then we start oppressing each other because we are just so oppressed, and then we just don't know how to do it. We don't know how to get around it, so we start oppressing each other. So after I went to school, I started going to school and acquiring the degrees and stuff. It was like I started working in the college. I became a professor in the college, an adjunct lecturer. So after I got my master's, I had my mentor. Her name was Dr. Barbara Adams, and she was like, "Maurice, you could teach. You're just a little rough around the edges, and I'm gonna help you." So she helped me, and she guided me. First, I was teaching telecourses where I was teaching over the phone, and then I would meet the students once a month. I did that for a year. And then after that, I was in the full class, and I started teaching in the class. And I was doing that for about 5 or 6 years. And then I realized, like, this is cool, but I want to be writing. I started writing curricula for the communication department. So I was writing the whole communication department was me. I was advanced topics in media studies, writing and reporting for the media, public speaking, effective ways to communicate. I wrote the whole discipline for the College of New Rochelle, the whole communication discipline I wrote. Right, so I'm like, yo, this is dope, and I'm having a good time, and I'm accomplishing things that I never thought I could accomplish. But you know what? I'm not hitting the population that I want to hit, because the population that's coming to school, they gonna be all right. But I need to be in the jails. and I need to be in the hood. So I had a plug that was working on Rikers Island. I wrote a curriculum, and I got in Rikers Island. I was doing facilitation on Rikers Island for a couple of years. I even brought the lessons in there. I was in Horizons doing it for a couple of years. I even brought the lessons in there. I was in Crossroads in Brooklyn too. Even brought the lessons in there. But so the thing is, I got to see the system from it was the craziest thing in the world. I had an ID. Last, I had an ID. I was walking around every fucking jail on Rikers Island, bro. Every jail. Right? I had a fucking Rikers Island ID. I'm walking through the Ford building now doing programs, bro, with no security. I'm walking everywhere I want to go in the fucking Ford building. I sat on the visiting floor and facilitated on the fucking visiting floor that I used to be in 74. That shit was so nostalgic, bro. Right? Being able to walk through the fucking jails that had me incarcerated and teach the young brothers strategies on how to overcome this shit. And I think that I was so effective and so able to connect the young people that they stopped me from being in there, bro. They stopped me from going. My program is called The Father's Love. They took me out of that shit. And the reason why a lot of young men are the way they are is because they don't have fathers. Fatherlessness is one of the main reasons that young men are the way they are in New York, and young women too. And another thing I want to discuss before I forget is a thing it's called toxic masculinity, right? So a lot of us are running around. A lot of young men and grown men like us too, they calling it gangster, and they calling it, we think it's thuggish and all that type of stuff, and it's not. That shit is toxic masculinity, bro. Because, so say we grew up with women, right? We were raised by women. I know I was, right? And it was no man around, right? So how do women express themselves when they get upset?
Emotionally.
They yell. Yeah, they get straight emotion, right? Straight emotion, right? So now you a dude, right? So you angry. How are you? So now, but the way we get off our anger is 10 times more impact, has a forceful impact versus an emotional impact like a woman, right? So now you got emotional young men and emotional men acting with masculinity. So masculine emotion comes out in violence. It comes out in fighting, and ultimately it comes out in murder, right? So dudes are out here murdering dudes because they're emotional and they can't think through their feelings. So a lot of times, a lot of people don't have to die. It don't have to be a violent situation if you could just rationalize through how you're feeling. Like, yo, I don't like what you did, or I don't like what you said. But that doesn't mean I gotta fucking kill you. Right? So that's toxic masculinity. A lot of us, these kids are running around right now blowing each other's head clean off because they mad emotional and not able to think through their problems or think through their feelings. So this is what my program helps to teach: emotional intelligence. Be aware that you upset. And how do you deal with your feelings when you upset? It's okay to have emotions. Or everybody has emotions. We got emotions. But how you deal with your emotions separate men from women. Women get enraged and out of control when their emotions are involved. Men shouldn't do that. And the crazy thing about that, I'm sure you ran into a lot of dudes that got murder charges when they were 16 years old. Because you remember they was at 16 used to be an adult, right? Now it's like 21. So how many people do you know when you was locked up from 16 to 18 that had murder charges? That's like 30 or 40 now. That they name is Abdul Rahim, whatever. They're a completely different person.
I had a murder charge at 16. And I was charged as an adult. And now that's outlawed. You got to be 18 to be charged as an adult and sent to Rikers Island. But we was 16. We was 16. I had a murder in the second degree at 16.
And they charged you as an adult?
Yes, sir.
And
over an accidental shooting.
Wow. So it was an accident. So you ain't. So you said you did 3 to 9. That's why they ain't finished.
Yeah, I mean, I got my charges eventually dropped down to manslaughter, but
got you.
At first, they charged me with murder in the 2nd degree at 16 years old. Sent me to Rikers Island.
And they was gonna fix you if they could have.
Was they? That's why every day I think about that. If I wouldn't have got my charges dropped down to manslaughter, bro, it would have been a wrap. I remember when my lawyer told me, he said, listen, this is the big day. If they drop your charges to manslaughter, you're going to do a whole lot less time. But if they don't, I don't know what to tell you. And I was too young to understand the severity of the situation.
That's the point that I was getting at right there. That's the point that I was getting at. When you 16 and 17 years old, you do not realize that if you take somebody's life, they not coming back.
Yeah, consequence, the part of your brain that understands consequence for your action is not even fully developed yet.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You feel me? So you doing all type of shit that you don't really, yet you do not have that. We all know when we was kids, we ain't give a fuck. You understand what I'm saying? You ain't give a fuck. You'll shoot over here, shoot over there. You don't care. But as you get older, you realize, nah, you can't do stupid shit like that. You got some people that was killers at 16, and when their brain finished developing, when their brain was finished at 25 years old, finished development, they just left that whole street life shit alone. I know dudes like that. They was wild as hell when they was 14, 15, 16. But when they became a man, they put them childish things aside. Some people never develop because some people get locked up during these years. Then your development becomes arrested, and now you 16. You 16 for the next 10 years.
Yes, sir. You sound like that's exactly what I be saying. That's exactly what I said. People are arrested in their development. I know men right now who are arrested in their development, and they 40s about to be 50.
Bro, I'm one of them. I'm gonna keep it real with you. It's different levels to it. Like I'm in my 40s. You know, I'm in my 40s, bro. It's like I should have a solid bank account. I should have a house. You understand what I'm saying? I should have a lot of things that a person my age should have. I don't have, bro, because when you do a bid and when you subject to doing prison time, everybody don't bounce back. Some people actually come home and bounce back, but that is a small percentage. There's a lot of dudes, we struggle for life. I'm one of them, bro. I'm struggling for life because of my bid.
Let me tell you something. Me too, bro. Me too. So all of the things that I do and all of the things that I've accomplished, still it's a ceiling to it in regards to what society will allow me to do as well. So certain things we are prone to. You know what I mean? Certain behaviors we are prone to, but society and don't I don't know. Did you grow up with a dad?
Not in my household.
All right, so you didn't grow up with a dad, like in your household.
I ain't grow with my father in my household, and my step pop, the dude that was with my mom's, he was in the street, and he eventually was getting high.
Okay, so yeah, you didn't have the proper male guidance is what I'm getting at. Let me tell you something, bro. It's by design that you don't have a house and your credit and a certain kind of bank account. It's by design that's way. That is that way. You're not the only person that's like that. So that's not due to any fault of yours. The wealth is distributed unevenly in this country, period. Definitely. So right, so it's you're not the only person that's like that. It's like maybe 8 out of 10 black people are not where they want to be financially. It's because it's just like that. And so
we playing 400 years of catch up. We playing 400 years to catch up with society.
So don't ever think that you are where you're supposed to be. You got a platform and you letting people's voice get heard, and God is using you in the way that you're supposed to be used. And so your content, so this is a thing, like digital real estate is a thing. You're gonna be a millionaire, bro. Digital real estate is a thing. Once your platform starts hitting certain on YouTube, I think like 1 million views is like 1,500 a piece or whatever. You're gonna get to those points where your content, Your content is digital real estate. Mark my words, son. Mark my words. This is your lane, because there's nobody in your lane at all. Nobody's doing this, not from the East Coast anyway. So you're going to start to get more and more momentum behind it, and this is your lane. It ain't, and the word says this, right? Those who are first will be last, and those who are last will be first. We've been last for a mad long time. So now it's time for us to be first in this year, right? This wisdom, understanding, all being born to God. 2023 that's the God year. And all of the people that come under the name is God going to be revealed. And I guarantee you, son, this is going to be your year. This is going to be our year. Where all of the oppression, the oppressive, the self oppressive things. And this is another thing I want to get at too, right? In Far Rockaway, right? It's mad violence. It's mad violence against each other, right? So we got I call it, me and my bro Hafiz call it Hafiz coined the phrase. He called it a comfortable gangster or a comfortable thug, right? We got comfortable gangsters in Far Rockaway, and they only comfortable with killing and hurting people that they know. Like, because Far Rockaway is a small town, very, very small, right? And so everybody that I know that died by at the hands of somebody that they knew.
Yeah, there's always somebody you know.
Yeah, so people in Far Rockaway are not going outside of Far Rockaway, and no crime is no murder is warranted to me, because it's always back to that what I was saying, that toxic masculinity. If you know how to speak, you can speak to somebody without it escalating to a point where somebody has to die. When I came home, I put this in my mind. If I offend you, brother, I apologize. And I'm to the point now that I will apologize even if I didn't do nothing wrong. I will apologize if you're upset. Like, if you mad, you know what? I'm sorry you feel that way. How can we rectify that? Or what can I do to get you to not be upset right now? That's my thing. I lead with love and respect for people, and usually that always de-escalates situations, because dudes just usually want to feel like their ego is it. Like, I want to be the man. I want you to bow. I want you to give me this moment. And I don't have a problem with giving a person that moment. I don't mind letting your ego be king. I don't care, because my brother is not my enemy, and I don't want you to hurt me, bro. I don't want you to hurt me, and I don't want to have to hurt you. So in order for that to be resolved, if I have to apologize to you for something I didn't do, I'm willing to do that, so we could both live another day, my brother. And after that, when people see me, when people see me now, they see love. And I want you to love me so much that you know if you do something to me, you a sucker. Because all I represent is love and unity. So if you do something to me, you a sucker. Because I don't got no beef with you, bro. I don't want no beef with you. And I don't mind apologizing. And my beef is with the system. I go hard for black people in that way. I'm willing to put my life on the line for the betterment and upliftment of our young people. I'm willing to go to heaven for that. But I ain't willing to go to heaven at the hands of one of my brothers. Nah, so brother, I'm sorry that you feel that way. Let's not go there, right? And I'm leaving that alone. But what I want to say, again, the comfortable gangsters, right? Like, people are comfortable with developing these rifts and these beefs with people that you knew all your life. Far Rockaway is mad small. Listen, brother, I got 7 last names connected to my bloodline. My mother's from Edgemere and my father's from Redfern. I was born in St. John's Hospital and went right to Edgemere Projects in 1973. Everybody in Far Rockaway is damn near my cousin. So I don't know who's who in regards of beefing. I'm not beefing with nobody, right? So and most of the people that's been living out here for 20 years or more, we either connected by blood, or your cousin got a baby by my cousin, or some craziness like that. So everybody is connected. And so if you killing somebody, it's likely that you know their mother, their aunt, their uncle, their cousin, their niece, or whatever, their father or their grandparents. How could you take somebody from their family and you know their family, bro? How can you do that? And especially in Edgemere, we all know each other, the front and the back, and it hurts me so bad to see when I'm on Rikers Island. I see some kids from the front, some kids from the back, involved in the beef that happened in 1991 and 92 and 93, and you weren't even born. So you were born into a beef. You got beef with people, and you don't even know why. Before it was over money. Now it's just over nothing. So ultimately, this right here, this discussion is about Edgemere, and I want everybody in Edgemere to know that Maurice loves you, Moe Slinga love you, and we could stop. We could stop, because we just, rest in peace, we just lost Detta. The police, I don't know if you heard, the police killed a young man in Edgemere Projects the other day. Right? And this young man, his father is a friend of mine, and his mom is a friend of mine. And it's surrounding the situation where they're saying that it was a gun involved, or whatever. He didn't shoot police or nothing like that. They said it was a gun involved. And whatever happened after that. But I don't know about that part. I'm not commenting on that part. What I'm commenting on is the fact that he may have felt that he needed to have a weapon on him because somebody in the projects where he lived, where he grew up at, was going to do something to him, so he needed to protect himself. Right? And which in turn led to something else with police. So we shouldn't have to be walking around in our own projects that you knew. You grew up with these people. You went to public school with them. You went to junior high school with them. You went to high school with them, and you have to carry a gun to protect yourself from somebody you knew all your life. Somebody that when you see their mother at the corner store, you're going to say hi to her, but you know you're going to shoot her son later when you see him. That's crazy. We comfortable gangsters. We comfortable with hurting each other. We have to be uncomfortable with that, Edgemere. Far Rockaway too. But Edgemere is the heart of Far Rockaway. Everything that goes on in Far Rockaway stems from Edgemere, because the most ruthless people that walk Far Rockaway are from Edgemere. And Hamels is our cousin, you know what I mean? And Redford too. So, but all of that, Edgemere is the heart of the drama. And if we could show them peace and love, then it will extend through Far Rockaway. If we killing each other and the police killing us, we just dying. Dying.
Which project Stack Bundles was from?
Stack was from Redfern.
Oh.
Chinks was from Edgemere. Chinks was from my building. But when I was outside, Chinks was a baby boy. But Stack is from Redfern. Chinks is from Edgemere. Shout out to the Riot Squad. They used to put on, and I love Stack. I knew him. I ain't know him personally, but we knew of each other. I always wanted to do a song with him, but he was too hot for me. Last time I saw him was in Harlem with Chip Jones at that park on 145th Street up there in Harlem. Him and Jewels and Chip Jones and them was up there flossing. I was doing the peace treaty, Far Rock peace treaty. Shout out to my boy E Trubs. I was gonna send you a picture of him too. That's my boy. He was a former blood enforcer from the backside, and me and him got together, and we got this thing called the Far Rock Peace Treaty, where we had the Crips and the Bloods come together and call a truce. It works for a certain amount of time, and then certain things just happen.
I'm gonna keep it real with you. Like that work that you do, that shit is God's work, and it's like, I'm just a firm believer that, man. These fucking streets, niggas, the same motherfuckers you be trying to save is the same motherfuckers that'll kill you. Like, you feel me? So I be wanting to get in the field with shit like that too, bro. I done saved a lot of young niggas from going to jail, bro. I took
you
niggas
doing
off
it
the
with
street.
this podcast. Yeah. You doing it with this?
I mean, even before that, in the hood, I got like four niggas under my belt that I can honestly say, if it wasn't for me, them niggas would be dead or in the penitentiary, my nigga. You understand what I'm saying? Because they was on their way, and I got exhausted with that shit. Like, saving niggas and giving niggas knowledge of self, and got to deal with a nigga savagery, and I mean.
Yo, you see how this video I just dropped 3 days ago on my YouTube channel already got 9,300 views? If your promo was on there, you would have already got seen by over 9,000 people in 72 hours. Ain't nobody promo like the promo on my channel. You heard? Holla at me.